Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Cindy Jarrett, and this episode is focused on how it came to be that I teach conscious dating. And this is my story of how this all evolved and how it's also available for my clients for over 35 years now. And I am now bringing it to my channel, and there will be multiple episodes addressing different aspects of conscious dating. But I thought I would begin with my story of how this all came about. I was in a very challenging relationship, and I call it my floor relationship, the relationship that teaches you everything that you want and need and everything you don't want and don't need. And these are valuable relationships, and many people get their floor relationship before they really learn how to stand for what they want and need, get that clarity of what they want and need, and then really making sure that that's who they end up meeting out in the world. And so I was, at the time, I was a health professional, dental hygienist, for 16 years, and I also did body work for 8 years in that time frame, and I used to run after work. And one day on one of my runs, after my relationship had ended and I realized, I really want to have the love of my life. I want to have my soulmate now. And so as I was running, I got this spiritual fax that downloaded, and that was that he's here. I was 30 at the time, and that he's walking the planet. And I thought, okay, well, I can tap into his soul. I can connect with his soul. And so I turned around and ran home, and I proceeded to do a meditation process. And also I was self-taught in the Tarot system. And so I threw the cards, and I did that every day for several months. And this was 1985. And so I started getting some very clear, consistent information about who this person was. So I got that he was tall, that he had brown eyes, that he had an accent. And I had just done 6 weeks in the South Pacific, and I thought, oh, maybe he's an Aussie, or maybe he's a Brit. And then, or a Southern boy, maybe he's a Southern boy. So I was very excited because I love accents. I love using them, and I love being, letting my inner comedian come out to play with accents. And for emphasis in my teaching, it makes it fun. I also got that he was breaking up with a major relationship, and I figured it might be a marriage, and that he had a child, a daughter, and also that he was younger than me, but born the same year as me. And so I'm a September baby, and I thought, well, there's plenty of dates in there, but it was so specific. And I'm Year of the Horse, and I like my Year of the Horse friends. There's a camaraderie and an understanding. And if you like your year of, whatever animal you are, you can resonate with that. So once I kept getting this information consistently, I thought, well, now I need to ask where and when, am I going to meet them? And so I got a clear message that I needed to go to a particular workshop, a transformational workshop. And so I signed up, and the people there, they wanted me to take the next course that was happening in September. And I said, no, I've been told I gotta do it in November. So I just trusted that information, and I went with it. So time passed. It was November, and I'm in the workshop, and I'm sitting there, and there's 120 of us in the course, and it's a big training process for different course leaders. And so it was very full. And I looked around, there were some cute guys there, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I sat in my chair, and I thought, well, maybe I got the place wrong or the timing wrong. That's okay. I'm here for me to get what I need to get out of the workshop. So as I was sitting there, I felt this energy behind me, and I felt sort of this presence. And so I turned around and I looked at the back of the course room, and I saw Thomas and this assistant were standing side by side. And he was tall, and I could tell he had brown eyes because he was looking around and in charge of the course room. And I thought, oh, he's working for the company. He's not in the workshop with me. He works for the company. And I thought, oh, that was funny. Because there was definitely information that, that we all knew, that you weren't supposed to fraternize with the participants. So I thought, well, okay, that'll be interesting. And then later that night, I had an aisle seat after a break, and I was sitting there and listening to, the lecture that was going on at the time. And I felt my energy field. It was like a drum. And this was before I knew about shamanism and drumming, but I felt this thump, 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 thump on my energy field. And it was like an animal skin drum. And I had never felt that before. And as I was feeling that, I turned and I looked up, and I saw Thomas standing there right behind me near my seat. And I looked up at him, and he looked down at me, and he just smiled. And I thought, well, this is very interesting. And that first night in my cabin, I had a room alone, and it had a window and stuff. And there was a very romantic evening, I'll say, we had. So much so, I thought for sure he had crawled in the window, and we made love that night. And so in the course room, the next morning, I'm beet red. I'm sure that he's picking up on this and must know something. And so anyway, I'm in the course. I think, well, he saw all these, and also another thing that I got was that he had a J in his name. And so I thought maybe James or John or, something like that. And I saw on his, tag that he was Thomas. And then I found out his last name was Jarrett with a J. So I thought, well, check, check, check. This is kind of lining up, and I'm feeling this connection. And so then later in the week, I had a message waiting for me at the back of the room, and he called out my name, and I heard his accent. And he's from New Jersey. And I just cracked up. I said, oh God, he's a Jersey boy. And every now and then it comes out. He'll say, what's the matter? So we play with that, and I do my Jersey rendition back at him, and we laugh. So it ekes out. But he does have an accent. So the course ended, and I went and gave him a hug and gave him my business card and said, I want to talk to somebody about maybe working for the company. And I wrote a letter to the course leaders to such, and explained what I got out of the course, and also that I had talked to Thomas about signing up for working for the company. And so they kind of assigned him to me, and I was his project. So we met in San Francisco on Polk Street in a diner late December, and we got to talking about what it would take to work for the company and get involved and this and that. And he also told me some personal stuff about his life. And so I was listening to that, and I heard that he was breaking up from major marriage, that he was divorcing and papers were filed, and that he had a child, a daughter. And when he told me that, I said, how old are you? And this was after his birthday, so we were the same birthdays. And I said, what month? And so he said December and his date. And I went, oh my God, I just had this moment, and we just looked into each other's eyes, and more so than strangers would do in a, brief sort of business meeting. And I just thought, oh my God, I am being given the grace of meeting my beloved, my future husband, before either one of us has even discussed that. So we hugged and felt very close, spent the rest of the afternoon together, running around San Francisco, and then we parted. And then we had our first date the following February in '86. And in that date, I read him my journal. And I thought, he's either going to run out the door or he's going to think I'm the cat's pajamas. And so, well, the rest is history. Meow. So we've been together. He committed to me in that moment, and I am forever grateful for that. He was, to quote a Ted Lasso quote, he was a bit of a mess, but he knew I was his soulmate, and I knew he was mine. And even though we had a lot of work to do in those early years together, we knew that we could get through it and that we would have a great life. And we do. We have a life of miracles and magic and connectivity and love and growth and transformation and consciousness. We have a conscious marriage. And he is my everything. And so we got together and we started living together, and then we got married, and my evolution in terms of career led me to wanting to do something more soul and heart driven. And so I had been studying with a metaphysical teacher for several years, and I realized these teachings of how to be an emotionally mature spiritual adult need to come out, need to reach the public. And so I opened up my consulting business. I first hired a woman to help me figure out what was next. And I got very clear that I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach conscious relationship practices. I wanted to bring people connected to themselves, connected to their own hearts and souls, and connected to their beloveds and those that were couples, to create healthy and sustaining love relationships. So they were my first clients because they were in trouble. My consultant that I had hired and her husband, and I've been busy ever since. They knew people who knew people who knew people. And so I've been teaching this process for 35 years now. And I have a book that has the entire training in it that I usually do in my consulting work over a 9-month period minimum. And the whole training I put in this book for people who are good at being self-taught, self-directed. And also with people, hopefully, that they read the book and also get a lot of the work under their belts, and then they maybe hire me for a couple of months. They don't need as much time because they've gotten a lot of the foundation that's in the book. It's full of exercises. So the title, Path of the Golden Heart, Conscious Dating in an Unconscious World. So my why is ending relationship pain. And there's too much relationship pain out there because people don't have the toolkit on how to understand the difference of the head and the heart. They don't know how to deal with diversity in their relationships. And diversity where we're different is where we have our trouble. Not where we're the same and we're fully aligned. It's where we're different. That's what gets us into trouble. And not knowing the language of the heart and how different it is to the language of the mind. So I love this project. I have helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over 35 years connect with their soulmates. I've gone to weddings. I have helped them down the road with the premarital process. I've helped them in couples training after they've been together for a while. It's just been a generational experience, watching people have their children and have their children be up and grown and adults. Very, very rewarding. And I'm here now on YouTube to bring this to you, to end your relationship pain. So there will be many, many chapters, episodes related to conscious dating, also to couples work and what couples need to be successful in relationship. So thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. And of course, like and subscribe and share any of the episodes that will be here so that this channel can grow and this teachings can get out to more and more people. Thank you again, and take good care and stay creative.